Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening.
John Carter adjusted his uniform as the shuttle approached the grand conference vessel, floating like a colossal jewel against the backdrop of deep space. The shuttle vibrated slightly as it docked, a gentle reminder of the monumental nature of this gathering. It was the first of its kind, a summit where beings from across the galaxy convened to share knowledge and culture. As John stepped into the Grand Assembly Hall, his eyes widened at the sight of the diverse array of beings. Hundreds of species, each with their unique forms, floated, walked, and phased through the vast space. The air buzzed with a cacophony of sounds, some melodic and others beyond the human auditory range, forming a symphony of cosmic diversity. "Quite something, isn't it?" a voice remarked beside him. Turning, John met the eyes of his colleague, Marcus Lee, another diplomat from Earth. Marcus, with his ever-curious gaze, seemed just as awestruck. "It's more than I imagined," John replied, his voice tinged with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Do you think we'll really be able to make a difference here?" "We have to try," Marcus said, clapping him on the back. "Humanity has as much to offer as any, and as much to learn." Together, they made their way to the registration area where a figure caught John's attention. She stood, or rather, floated, near the center of the hall. Her ethereal form shimmered slightly, like a mirage made real, her eyes reflecting the starlight streaming through the panoramic windows. "That's Mira," Marcus whispered, following John's gaze. "She's from Zarmina. They're known for their intellectual achievements and telepathic abilities." John nodded, unable to peel his eyes away from the intriguing alien. Taking a deep breath, he steered his steps toward her, Marcus in tow. "Excuse me, Mira?" John ventured as they approached. Her gaze turned to him, piercing yet serene. "Yes, I am Mira. You are humans from Earth, I perceive," she replied, her voice a melodic harmony that seemed to resonate directly in their minds. "That's right," Marcus chimed in, extending his hand, then awkwardly retracting it, remembering the protocol advisories about physical interactions. "I'm Marcus, and this is John. We're honored to meet you." "The honor is shared," Mira responded, her lips curving into what could be interpreted as a smile. "Your species has made significant strides. You carry the spark of curiosity and determination." John felt a flush of pride mixed with surprise at her words. "We're eager to learn from all of you as well. Perhaps you could share more about your civilization? We've read about your advancements in telepathy and you wish to see if such things can be shared?" Mira finished for him. Her intrigue was palpable. "Come, let us find a more comfortable place to converse." They moved to a quieter corner of the hall, where soft, floating seats accommodated various anatomies. As they settled in, Mira explained, "Telepathy among our kind is not just a means of communication but a foundation of our society. It fosters an understanding deeper than your spoken words." Marcus looked fascinated. "Is it possible for humans to learn, even at a basic level?" "Possibly, with the right guidance," Mira mused. "It requires openness beyond your natural senses. Perhaps during our time together, I could attempt to teach you some fundamentals." John's heart raced at the prospect. "We'd be grateful for any knowledge you could share." "As I would be to learn from you," Mira replied. "Tell me, what hopes does humanity hold for this summit?" John exchanged a look with Marcus. "We hope to find common ground," he said, "and perhaps build bridges that could one day span the stars." Their conversation deepened, drifting from cultural exchanges to the technical aspects of interstellar travel and the potential for collaborative projects. As the dialogue flowed, John felt the boundaries between the stars blur, a testament to the summit's purpose. By the time they parted ways to attend the opening ceremony, John felt a profound sense of connection, not just to Mira, but to the possibilities that lay ahead. With a newfound friend and an open heart, he was ready to embrace whatever the summit had to offer. After the opening ceremony, which dazzled attendees with a display of lights and sounds emblematic of the galaxy's diversity, John and Marcus returned to the heart of the summit's activities. The next day was filled with workshops and panels, and John found himself drawn to a session titled Interspecies Communication Techniques. He convinced Marcus to join him, hoping it might provide insights into Myra's telepathic abilities. As they made their way to the designated meeting dome, they bumped into another human delegate, Dr. Elias Reed, a renowned linguist known for his work on xenolinguistics. John, Marcus, heading to the communication workshop? Elias greeted them with a warm smile. Yes, we are, John replied. Thought it might be useful, especially after our conversation with Mira yesterday. Mira from Zarmina? Fascinating species, Elias commented as they walked. Her people's communicative abilities could revolutionize how we interact with other civilizations. They entered the dome, a structure designed to enhance auditory capabilities for various species. As the session began, the speaker, a creature with translucent skin and bioluminescent veins, described the basic principles of nonverbal communication used by their kind. Communication transcends spoken language. It involves the aura of thoughts, the dance of neural lights, the speaker explained, their body glowing rhythmically with their words. Marcus leaned over to whisper, "Imagine if we could literally light up a room with conversation." Elias chuckled softly. It would certainly make diplomatic meetings more colorful. Throughout the presentation, John jotted down notes, particularly interested in the devices that could aid in translating nonverbal alien languages into something humans could understand. After the session, he approached the speaker with Elias and Marcus in tow. "Thank you for your insights," John said. "I'm curious about the technology you mentioned, those neural translators. How effective are they in real-time communication?" "Quite effective for simple exchanges," the speaker responded, their skin shimmering blue. "But for deeper connections, like the Zarmanin's telepathy, it's more complex." Elias interjected, "Do you think such technology could be adapted for human use? Perhaps to foster better understanding between species like ours and the Zarmanins?" "It's possible," the speaker mused, "but it requires willingness to share mental space. Not all species are comfortable with such intimacy." The trio discussed potential collaborations on adapting the technology for human use, with Elias expressing interest in leading a pilot study. They exchanged contact information, promising to explore the possibility further. As the crowd dispersed, Marcus nudged John. "Looks like you might get closer to understanding Myra's world after all." "Yeah," John smiled, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. "It's just the beginning, though. There's much to learn and even more to understand." They decided to explore the botanical exhibit next, where species from different planets showcased their native flora. It was here they unexpectedly encountered Mira again, admiring a particularly luminescent plant. "Mira," John called out, pleased to see her. She turned, her expression brightening. "John, and your friends," she greeted. "This is a Solari bloom from my home world. It thrives in the light of our twin stars." "It's beautiful," Marcus remarked. "Does it have a special meaning for your people?" "It symbolizes the convergence of dualities, light and shadow, science and art," Mira explained. "Much like this summit, bringing together different worlds." Their conversation meandered from the flora of Zarmina to the cultural significance of plants in human history. Mira was particularly intrigued by the human emotional connection to nature. "It's refreshing," she noted, "to see such passion for life in its many forms." As the day wound down, John felt a deeper bond forming not just with Mira, but with his colleagues as well. The promise of new friendships and collaborations seemed just within reach, enriching his experience of the summit beyond his initial expectations. With a sky full of stars and a universe of possibilities, John was eager to see what other wonders the summit would unveil. The following morning, John, Marcus, and Elias met for breakfast in the summit's communal dining area, a place buzzing with a myriad of species and languages. Over steaming cups of a popular galactic brew, they discussed their plan for the day. Elias, especially enthusiastic, proposed they attend a workshop on Zarmanin linguistic structures, having secured an invitation from Mira. "Imagine learning the basics of a telepathic language," Elias said, his eyes gleaming with academic curiosity. "It's not just words. It's about conveying pure thought." "I'm more curious about how we might apply this," Marcus added, sipping his drink. "Imagine the diplomatic doors it could open." John nodded in agreement, feeling a mixture of anticipation and anxiety about diving into such a complex subject. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm just hoping I can keep up with you guys. They arrived at the workshop to find Mira waiting with a small group of other Zarmanans. The room was set with devices that appeared to facilitate telepathic communication. Mira greeted them warmly. "Welcome, friends," Mira began, her voice a soothing melody in John's mind. "Today, we will attempt something quite challenging. We will share with you the basis of our communicative form, thought transference. Please, be patient with yourselves and us." The session started with simple exercises. Participants were asked to clear their minds and focus on transmitting basic emotions. Mira demonstrated by projecting a sense of calm that washed over everyone in the room. "Focus on a single emotion," Mira instructed. "Try to hold it, feel its shape, and then project it towards someone else." Elias, always eager, went first. He concentrated, knitting his brows together, and then a wave of cheerful amusement swept through the group. "I was thinking of a funny incident from last night," he explained, grinning as some chuckled along. "Very good, Elias," Mira said, nodding in approval. "Now, John, would you like to try?" John hesitated, then closed his eyes, summoning a memory filled with peace. He pictured the quiet of Earth's oceans, the rhythmic sound of waves crashing. When he opened his eyes, a few of the Zarmanans had their hands on their hearts, moved. "It's a powerful memory," one of them said, and John felt a surge of pride. Marcus gave it a try, focusing hard, but the only thing others felt was a confusing tangle. "Guess I'm not cut out for telepathy," he laughed, shrugging. "It's not easy," Mira reassured him. "It takes practice to clear one's mental pathways of noise." The workshop continued with more complex exercises, integrating emotions with specific nonverbal concepts. John found himself deeply engrossed, his earlier apprehension replaced by a profound fascination with this new way of connecting. As the session ended, Mira approached John and his friends. "You have all done remarkably well for novices. This was a significant first step." Elias was eager to delve deeper. "Mira, could this technology be adapted to teach others on Earth?" "It's possible," Mira pondered. "Though the device helps, true mastery comes from within. It requires openness and, importantly, trust." As they left the workshop, the trio discussed the possibilities of incorporating what they had learned into their work back home. Marcus was already brainstorming how to report their findings to their superiors, while Elias spoke of academic papers. John, however, was quiet, reflecting on the deeper connection he'd felt, not just with Mira but with his own inner self. It was a revelation, the kind that subtly shifted his perspective on communication and understanding. He realized that this summit might just change him in ways he hadn't anticipated. "Today was quite something," John finally said, earning nods from his companions. "I think we're starting to scratch the surface of something big." With the stars as their witness, they walked back to their quarters, minds buzzing with thoughts translated beyond mere words, a shared experience that had drawn them closer to each other and to the distant corners of the galaxy they were just beginning to understand. The Cultural Exchange Gala was the highlight of the summit's second week. Delegates from countless civilizations had prepared to showcase their traditional arts, music, and dances. John, Marcus, and Elias, having spent the morning in various seminars and discussions, were looking forward to an evening of entertainment and camaraderie. As they entered the grand ballroom, transformed into a kaleidoscope of lights and colors, each delegate brought a piece of their world to share. John observed in awe the myriad expressions of culture as vibrant fabric swirled, holograms danced in midair, and alien music filled the space with exotic melodies. "Look at this place," Marcus exclaimed, his eyes wide. "It's like stepping into another universe, or several." Elias, always the observer, added, "Notice how each performance tells a story. It's not just a dance or a song. It's a narrative of their history, their values." "Fascinating, isn't it?" John nodded, scanning the room until his gaze landed on Mira. She was dressed in a flowing gown that shimmered with the light of her planet's twin stars, already attracting a small crowd with her poise and grace. "Let's get a closer look," John suggested, leading the way. As they approached, Mira spotted them and smiled. "John, Marcus, Elias, you're just in time. I'm about to present a traditional Zarmanan dance. It's called the Veil of Stars, a dance of unity and understanding across species. That sounds intriguing, Elias replied. Is it performed solo? Traditionally, yes. But tonight, I wish to adapt it into a duet. John, would you honor me by joining? Mira asked, her request catching John slightly off guard. I'm not much of a dancer, John admitted, his cheeks coloring slightly under her gaze. But the dance is simple. It is more about the connection between the dancers than the steps themselves, Mira explained, her tone encouraging. After a moment of hesitation and a reassuring nod from Marcus, John agreed. Mira quickly briefed him on the basic movements, a series of gentle steps and graceful arm gestures designed to mimic the celestial dance of stars and planets. As the music started, a soft, ethereal melody, John and Mira stepped onto the dance floor. The room's attention shifted towards them, a hush falling over the crowd. John found himself moving almost instinctively, guided by Mira's subtle cues. The dance was slow, almost meditative, allowing him to focus on the connection between their movements, their breaths, and the story they were weaving through their dance. You're doing wonderfully, John, Mira whispered as they spun, her voice a comforting presence in his ear. As the dance concluded, the crowd erupted into applause. John and Mira bowed, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared triumph and joy. That was beautiful, Marcus said as they rejoined him and Elias. You two looked like you've been dancing together for years. It felt like that, didn't it? John responded, still catching his breath. It was like being part of the stars themselves. Elias clapped John on the back. Well done. You might have a future in interstellar diplomacy and dance. The rest of the evening was spent enjoying other performances. Each act brought a new wave of awe and appreciation from the delegates. As the gala drew to a close, the trio gathered to share their thoughts. Tonight was an eye-opener, Marcus commented, seeing all these cultures express themselves, sharing this space. It makes you realize how vast and varied the universe is. And yet, through events like this, it feels a bit smaller, more connected, Elias added. It's amazing, isn't it? John nodded, his mind still on the dance. It's more than amazing. It's a reminder of how much we can share, even when we come from different worlds. Tonight wasn't just about watching. It was about participating, about truly connecting. As they left the ballroom, the stars outside seemed a little closer, the universe a little less mysterious. John felt a profound sense of belonging, not just to his own world but to this grand cosmic community. After the high spirits of the cultural gala, the following day offered a quieter, more reflective schedule. John and Marcus decided to spend the evening at the summit's observation deck, a popular spot for delegates to view the nebulae and star fields. The observation deck, a circular room with transparent walls and a retractable roof, offered a breathtaking panorama of space. It's hard to believe we're halfway through the summit already, Marcus mused as they found a spot near the rail, gazing out at the swirling colors of a distant nebula. Yeah, time flies when you're immersed in learning about the universe, John replied, his thoughts wandering back to the dance with Mira. I've been thinking a lot about what all this means. For us as diplomats and personally, Marcus nodded, following John's gaze into the cosmos. It's a lot to take in. Meeting Mira has certainly added an unexpected dimension to this trip. Just then, Elias joined them. His face lit up with the typical enthusiasm of someone who had spent the day buried in seminars and discussions. Evening, gentlemen. Stargazing tonight? More like contemplating our place in the universe, Marcus joked, shifting to make room for Elias. Elias laughed, leaning on the rail. A worthy pastime. So, what are the thoughts so far? Any revelations? John sighed, his mind still on the dance. It's about connection, I think. Not just diplomatic ties, but personal ones, too. Mira showed me that. The way she integrates her culture with others, the dance. It's all about building bridges. Elias's expression grew thoughtful. Yes, Mira seems to embody her culture's ethos of understanding and unity. It's impressive, and quite different from our often compartmentalized ways. The dance yesterday was a perfect example, Marcus added. John here might have discovered a hidden talent. John chuckled, but his eyes remained fixed on the stars. Maybe, but it's more than just learning steps. It's about the harmony, you know? How different beings, different worlds, can move together. It makes you wonder what else we might achieve if we dared to step out of our comfort zones more often. That's a profound observation, Elias agreed. Stepping out into the unknown, trying to sync with someone who isn't from your world. There's a kind of magic in that. The conversation paused as a shooting star streaked across the sky, its brief trail sparking silent awe. It makes you think about what you want to take back from all this, John continued, his voice softer. Not just knowledge or agreements, but the experiences, the feelings of these moments. Elias nodded, his gaze deepening. And how about Mira? Do you think there's something more there, John? John hesitated, then smiled faintly. I don't know. There's definitely a connection. She's opened up a new perspective for me. It's like seeing the universe through a different lens. Marcus clapped him on the back. Well, whatever happens, it's clear this summit isn't just changing our professional lives. It's touching something deeper. Yes, John agreed, turning back to the view. And whatever comes next, I hope we can keep this sense of wonder, this willingness to explore and connect. It's what will truly make a difference, I think, in how we relate to the universe. The three men stood in companionable silence, each lost in thought as the cosmos spun its ancient and endless dance around them. This moment, under the vast, starlit sky, would remain a vivid memory of what they had shared and learned, about the universe, about others, and about themselves. The day after their reflective night under the stars, John found himself walking alongside Mira through one of the quieter corridors of the summit vessel. The serene environment of the summit's library, lined with volumes and data from countless worlds, provided a backdrop to their conversation. Mira, about last night, John began hesitantly. The dance, the talks we've had, I feel like I'm seeing things differently now. There's a depth to your culture, to you, that I'm just beginning to appreciate. Mira smiled, a soft expression that seemed to light up the dimly lit corridor. I am glad, John. Our interactions have been enlightening for me as well. You have a unique perspective, one that is both refreshing and deeply thoughtful. They reached a viewing alcove, a small bubble of glass jutting out into space, offering a panoramic view of the passing stars. As they paused, watching the cosmic dance outside, Mira turned to him, her expression serious. John, there is something important I wish to discuss with you, she said, her voice low. Our time together at this summit, it has been a significant journey, one that could continue beyond this temporary meeting place. John felt his heart quicken. What do you mean? Mira took a deep breath, her gaze locked on his. I am speaking of a choice, one that involves great sacrifice but also great reward. My people have a way, a process, that can allow beings from different worlds to truly unite. It's a transformation, one that allows deeper integration, physically, mentally, emotionally. John's mind raced. A transformation? You mean, changing me? Yes, Mira nodded. It is not a decision to be taken lightly. It would mean giving up certain aspects of your humanity, embracing parts of my essence. It is the ultimate reward, John, for it transcends all barriers that currently exist between us. But I would still be me, right? I mean, my thoughts, my feelings? John asked, trying to grasp the implications. You would retain your core self, your memories, your identity, but you would also gain a broader understanding, a wider sensory perception, and a deeper emotional resonance with my people, Mira explained. John felt both exhilarated and terrified. And what about us? Is this about us? Mira reached out, her hand hesitating in the air before gently resting it against his arm. It is about us, but it is also about you, John. About the potential of your spirit, your capacity for unity and understanding. This is why I chose you to share this possibility. They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of her words hanging between them. Finally, John spoke. I need to think about this, Mira. It's a lot to take in. Of course, Mira replied, her touch lingering a moment longer before she stepped back. Take all the time you need. We have until the summit's end to decide. As John left the alcove, his mind swirled with thoughts of what Mira had proposed. The opportunity to bridge worlds in such an intimate, irreversible way was both a daunting prospect and an incredible gift. He knew he had to weigh his ties to humanity against the potential to experience something few others could even imagine. The rest of the day, John found himself seeking the advice of Marcus and Elias, explaining the situation without disclosing too many details. Both friends offered perspectives on duty, personal fulfillment, and the nature of change. That night, as John lay in his quarters, the stars outside no longer just points of light but symbols of potential paths, he pondered the essence of what it meant to be human, and what it could mean to be something more. The last days of the summit were approaching, and John found himself at a crossroads that felt larger than anything he had faced before. He sought out Marcus and Elias for one final discussion before making his decision. They met in the quiet of the summit's botanical garden, a place where the air was filled with the scent of alien flora and the gentle sounds of a synthetic waterfall. "John, you look like you've been carrying the weight of the galaxy on your shoulders," Elias commented as he observed his friend's somber expression. John chuckled weakly. "Feels more like 2 galaxies, Elias." He then sighed deeply. "I told you both about Myra's proposal. I've been thinking about it nonstop. It's not just a change, it's a transformation, a leap into a completely unknown." Marcus, who had been listening intently, nodded. "It's a huge step, John. Leaving behind everything you know, everything you are, to become something new." But also, Elias added, "it's an opportunity to experience a connection and understanding of the universe that we can only dream of. Not just living among aliens, but truly becoming part of their world." John paced slowly beside a row of luminescent plants, their light casting shadows on his thoughtful face. "It's that very opportunity that tempts me, to not just bridge worlds with words and treaties, but to embody that connection. Yet, I wonder if I'm ready to give up my humanity, my connection to Earth." "You wouldn't be losing yourself, John," Marcus said gently. "You'd be adding to who you are, expanding your horizons, literally and metaphorically." Elias looked at the stars visible through the garden's transparent dome. "Think about why you came to this summit in the first place. Was it just to represent Earth? Or was it to forge something new, something meaningful?" John stopped pacing and looked at his friends. "I came here hoping to make a difference, yes. But this is more personal than I ever imagined it would be." Marcus stepped forward, placing a hand on John's shoulder. "Whatever you decide, remember, this choice is yours alone. And whatever you decide, you have our support." Feeling the solidarity of his friends, John took a deep breath. "I know. And thank you both for helping me see this through." The conversation lingered as the stars shifted above them, each man lost in his thoughts. Eventually, John stood up. "I need to give Mira my answer." They walked together to the conference center, where Mira was waiting in a secluded lounge, her expression composed yet expectant. "Mira," John began, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside, "I've thought long and hard about your offer, about what it means for both of us, for our worlds." Mira nodded, her eyes locking onto his. "And have you reached a decision?" John took a moment before answering, his resolve clear. "Yes, I have. I choose to accept the transformation, to embrace this new path, this new understanding. It's not about giving up my humanity. It's about expanding it, about creating a new way to see and connect with the universe." Myra's face brightened, a gentle relief passing through her features. "John, this means more than you can know. Not just to me, but to all Zarmanans. Your decision. It's a brave step towards a future where our worlds aren't just allies but are truly united." They spent the next few hours discussing the practicalities of John's decision, the process, and the implications. As the meeting ended, John felt a profound peace about his choice. He was stepping into a new existence, not leaving his old self behind but growing beyond it. As he left the lounge, John looked back at Mira, who gave him an encouraging smile. Walking back through the botanical garden towards his quarters, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, the universe a little wider, and his path forward clear and filled with new light. The final day of the summit arrived with a sense of culmination and anticipation. John walked through the corridors of the conference ship, feeling the familiar hum of the vessel but perceiving everything around him as if through new senses. Today, he would begin the process that would integrate him more deeply into Myra's world. He found Marcus and Elias waiting for him outside the room designated for the transformation. Their faces were a mix of concern and admiration. "Ready for this, John?" Marcus asked, clapping him on the back with a brotherly affection. "As I'll ever be," John replied, his voice betraying a hint of nervous excitement. "It's strange, knowing that in a few hours, everything I understand about myself might change." Elias, always the thinker, adjusted his glasses and nodded. "It's a profound step, John. But remember, every great journey begins with a decision to leave the familiar behind." John smiled. "Thanks, Elias. I'll carry that thought with me." They entered the room, a space filled with advanced medical and technological equipment, indicating the seriousness and sophistication of the procedure. Mira was already there, along with a few of her people who specialized in the transformation process. Mira approached John, her expression serene. "John, this is a momentous day. Are you prepared to begin?" John took a deep breath, his resolve firm. "I am. Let's do this." The process was explained to him in detail. He would undergo a series of treatments that would alter his biological and neurological structures, allowing him to physically and mentally integrate into Myra's society. The transformation was complex, but had been perfected over centuries by Myra's people. As the procedure began, John lay back, feeling the gentle hum of the machines around him. Marcus and Elias stood by, offering silent support, watching as the Zarmanans worked with precision and care. The initial stages were painless, a testament to the advanced technology of Myra's civilization. John felt a series of sensations wash over him: warmth, tingling, a sense of stretching beyond physical limits. Mira stayed close, her presence reassuring. "How are you feeling, John?" Mira asked, her voice a calming balm. "It's indescribable," John murmured, his mind already noticing heightened perceptions, colors brighter, sounds clearer. Marcus and Elias observed, mingled with a touch of worry at the transformation unfolding before them. As the hours passed, the final stage approached. John's thoughts began to blend with emotions and senses in ways he had never imagined. He could feel Myra's calmness, her hope, mixing with his own excitement and wonder. Finally, the transformation was complete. John slowly sat up, his eyes wide as he took in his surroundings with new depths of perception. "John, how do you feel?" Elias asked, stepping forward. "I feel connected," John replied, his voice steady but awestruck. "Like I'm part of something much larger than myself. It's as if I can feel the pulse of the universe." Marcus laughed softly. "That's one heck of an upgrade." Mira joined them, her hand reaching out to touch John's. "Welcome, John. Truly, you are now both human and Zarmanan. This is just the beginning of a new journey." John stood, steadying himself on his new legs. He felt different, transformed yet fundamentally the same. "Thank you, Mira, for trusting me with this gift. And thank you, Marcus Elias, for being here with me through everything." The trio, now a quartet with Mira, walked out of the room together. John felt every step as a new experience, each breath a discovery. As they left the conference ship, entering the docking bay where a shuttle waited to take them back to Earth, John looked out at the stars. They didn't just twinkle distantly anymore. They called to him, part of him now in a way they never had been before. With Mira at his side, and his earthly friends supporting him, John stepped into the shuttle, ready to explore not just the universe but the new dimensions of himself. The ultimate reward had been claimed, not just in gaining a new world, but in seeing his old one through a profoundly expanded vista.